Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be so much fun. I have a bunch of new makeup here from Sephora, nearly a full face worth that we are going to be trying out today, and these are all products that I've had on my wish list. Some for a very long time, you've heard me talk about them before. Some are recent additions to my wish list. We will be testing it all out today to come up with this makeup look, and I have a nice mix of products in here. I've got a product from Hourglass, a foundation from Estee Lauder, something from Dior. Yes, I know, who am I and what have I done with our affordable friend Mandy. I have a new product from Milk Makeup, something from Charlotte Tilbury that I've been eyeing for a very long time, and yes, I did. Lots of bougie makeup here today. I hope that you guys are excited about it. If you are new to my channel, special welcome to you. I hope that you enjoyed this one. Of course, if you do, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe before you leave, and with that said, let's get right into it. Alright guys, so today we are going to jump in first with the skin, and for my foundation, I picked up the L'Oreal Estee Lauder Futurist Hydra Rescue Foundation. This is one that has been on my wish list for many months. I have heard so many good things about this foundation. A lot of people have really highly recommended it, really seem to love it. I picked it up in the shade 2W1 Dawn. I am very much hoping, ooh, this is very liquidy. This will be a good shade match for me. It looks really good right now, actually. So I'm just going to dab that on my face, and then we will go in and blend it out with a sponge. I would love to know how many of you guys have tried this one out, how you like it. By the way, how cute is this little sponge that I picked up at Walmart this morning? This is just from Real Techniques. I thought it was so cute. I do like the Real Techniques sponge. Now that I've tried a lot of different sponges, it's not my favorite sponge, but I could not pass up on this because it's just so darn cute. So far, I am really liking how this went on. I did use a little bit of primer before I put this on. I just used a tiny bit of the Garnier Illuminating Moisturizer just to give myself a fresh layer of moisturization. But wow, guys, I'm really liking this. I would say it's a solid medium coverage. It seems to have covered most of like my major pigmentation marks. My bigger ones are still kind of peeking through, but that's pretty standard with a medium coverage foundation for me, and I'm absolutely okay with that. Shade match for me is fantastic. This might be one of the best shade matches that I've tried in a really long time. So far so good. I will keep you guys posted. I will not be able to do a check-in tonight, but I will pay attention to how the makeup wore. I will pay attention before I wash my face tonight to how everything wore and let you guys know in the description box down below how it wore. But so far, it looks really pretty. Let's jump into concealer, and for concealer I picked up the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer. I've always wanted to try something from Dior, but their price range usually put things out of where I'm comfortable spending my money. However, as I was looking at the concealers on the Sephora website, and as I started looking at price per ounce, this one actually ended up being more affordable than some of the other higher end concealers that I was interested in trying. It also got the best reviews of the ones that I was looking into, so I ended up going with the shade 1W. So a couple of details on this concealer. It was $36, but there is 0.37 ounces in this one. That is a lot of product. Honestly, when you feel this thing, you can feel that there's a lot of product inside here, and I am all about bang for your buck, whether that be drugstore makeup or high-end. So I'm hoping this is not going to be too light. I did get a lighter shade than I thought I might need right now because we're going into the winter months, and I typically like my concealer to be just a little bit lighter, not much, but a little bit lighter than my natural skin tone. I'm hoping, yeah, it looks like this will be just right actually. It might be a little bit light for some of the blemishes on my face. I've got to say, you guys, I mean, even without that concealer on yet, my skin looks really pretty. There's a nice glow to this foundation that's really, it's a subtle glow. It's not like glowy, I would say. It's just a really subtle, natural looking sheen that just looks really healthy and pretty. I'm really impressed with this foundation. I hope this concealer wears well underneath it. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and start blending that in. My nose is running. I hope you didn't see that. We're just going to pretend like that didn't happen. I don't have a lot to cover today other than just pigmentation marks, which are there always. And I'm sure will get progressively worse as the years go on, now that I'm almost 40. I can't believe that. A small part of me that's still kind of terrified of turning 40, but then there's a part of me that's like, who cares? I'm really starting to embrace the age is just a number, and nobody really cares how old you are. Everybody ages. There's no way any of us can get around it. That looks really nice. The finish and everything looks great. The coverage looks great. I did not apply very much, and I don't really feel like I need to apply more. Even covered my spot right here pretty well. Nothing covers this spot perfectly. Now, to set or not to set. Most of the time, I will very lightly set just my T-zone area because I do have a lot of like expression lines up here and forehead wrinkles that foundation tends to settle into. So I'm just going to take literally one little swipe of this powder, which is a very hard pressed powder. So very little is actually on my brush, and I'm just going to kind of tap that onto my forehead in between my brows and just take what's left and run it right alongside my nose and in my smile lines just to keep things from settling right there. Before we move into a couple new products, I do want to add a little bit of bronzer. So I'm going to actually take my Hourglass mini bronzer. I've had this for a while. This is in the color Diffused Bronze Light. Love this bronzer. It is so beautiful. So this probably is giving it away. If you were wondering if I had picked up the new Hourglass palette, I wasn't this close to picking it up. I was tempted to pick it up, but as I was looking at it and realizing that it's not that I'm not a big fan of their finishing and setting powders, basically the whole top row of the Ghost Edit palette that I own. It's not that I'm not a big fan of them, I just don't love them as much as I feel like I should. I don't feel like I need them, and so I didn't want to buy a whole nother palette that had 3 powders that I knew I might not use or love. I'm still kind of hoping my thoughts on that change over time. I mean, again, I don't dislike them, I just don't see that they do anything phenomenal for me. I do, however, really love their blush and bronzers, so I picked up something else instead. Let's just break into it right now. So I ended up going with a mini of one of their blushes, and this is the blush that actually comes in their new Ambient Lighting Edit palette. This one is in the shade Mood Exposure, which I think is one of their most popular shades. I've been eyeing this shade specifically for a while. These are very, very small, but knowing the rate that I actually use blushes up, as in I have never used up an entire blush ever, I think this will be more than enough for me for now. I would love to know from you guys, how many of you guys picked up the Ambient Lighting Edit palette this year? I know a lot of people were super excited about it. Thought about picking it up and reviewing it, and then I realized, you know, I really just don't need to spend my money on that. I enjoy the one that I have. I'm not anywhere close to finishing that one up that I got last year, the Ghost Edit palette. So I can hold off and we'll just give this blush a try today. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That color is so pretty. It's like the perfect neutral kind of plum color. It's like a brown toned pink. All right, I am loving that. Very, very excited about that. How pretty is that blush? Ooh, I think that is so pretty. Good decision, Mandy. I saved myself seriously almost $60 by just going with the mini. And then of course I made up for that somewhere else that we'll get into when we get to the eyeshadow palettes. Yes, I said palettes, plural. So this is the highlighter that I picked up. This is from Milk Makeup. This is their Flex highlighter, and I got the shade Lit. This highlighter's been around for a while, and I've heard really good things about it. I have heard it is extremely intense, but I do like myself that is intense. Wow, just looking at that, I can see this is going to be beaming. I can just tell. Let's give it a little swatch really quickly. Whoo-wee. That is very, very intense. So, not for the faint of heart, my guess, but I am very excited to give this a try. So I'm going to go in with my BH Cosmetics highlighting brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that on the brush. I'm actually going to kind of tap it off on the back of my hand. I don't want to go in too heavy-handed to start out with. Okay, so it's quite intense. Maybe didn't need to build it up quite so much. I love the color of this though. It's like a shell pink with a hint of beige to it. I don't know that you can kind of see that. It almost, I wonder if your skin tone is not quite right. This might look a little bit gray on you is my guess. Even though it's super reflective, I'm guessing if you're very fair, kind of when you're not, when the light's not hitting it, it might look a little bit dark and kind of gray on you. But so far it's looking beautiful. That's really, really pretty. All right, let's move into the eyes. I am going to put just a little bit of the Urban Decay Primer Potion on. I'm trying to use this thing up. I've had it for over a year now and have hardly even used it. When given the choice, I almost always reach for my Wet n Wild, which is almost officially gone now. Just putting a tiny bit of translucent powder right on that inner part right there where I always get creasing. And now the moment I'm sure all of you have been waiting for, we're going to dip into the Huda palettes. I did end up picking up all 3 of these. I was this close to just going with the Sand Haze palette, but then I was like, I've got to have the khaki. And then I was looking at the purple again. There were a couple of deep shades in here that I just felt, you know, for the purpose of science, let's try them all out. I'll show you guys swatches of each of the palettes today. I will just be doing a look with just one of the palettes today, but I am planning to come back and do at least one look with each of the palettes in one video. And maybe if I have time, even go through and find some alternatives to these. So the packaging of these, Not that you should buy a product just for the packaging, but if you are a packaging connoisseur, so to speak, these are so pretty. I mean, you've got the haze here, even like the name, which is kind of hazy, it like fades from light to dark. The back has this like swirly imprint in it that looks very marbled underneath the hazy plastic packaging. This is beautiful. Let's open her up. This is the Sand palette. Oh my goodness, you guys. There it is right there. Alright, so I will insert for you guys right here a close-up of the packaging so you can see it a little bit better, and also the swatches on my arm. I am very, very excited about this one. Each of these had a couple of shades in them that really spoke to me, which is the reason I ended up picking up all three. I'm going to try really hard over the next several days to use all of those shades that really caught my attention so I can gather which one is my favorite. It's going to be a tough job, I can already tell. Here is the purple palette next. This one is also so beautiful. It's like a very eggplant purple color. Hopefully on this one you'll be able to see that marbling in the back. Do you guys see that marbling underneath? It is so pretty. Oh my goodness. And of course the shades inside. So the thing that really caught my eye with this palette were these deep purples right here. This shade right here, this lid shade, looks so pretty. I mean, I'm sure I have shades similar to this. It's kind of like a shell pink. Let's go ahead and just like swatch it right now. Ooh, it's a little more of like a taupey shell pink. That's really pretty. I also want to swatch this glittery purple shade right here. That is so pretty, you guys. Oh my gosh. Let's just swatch a few more, shall we? And let's swatch that deep purple. This is a deep purple. I'm very curious to compare this to the ColourPop palette I just got. This one does look more of like a true purple than a gray purple. And last but certainly not least is the khaki palette. Look at the color of this, you guys. Oh, it's this like gray khaki green. Oh my goodness, it is so pretty. Take a look at the marbling on the back there. It's so beautiful. And of course the shades inside. Ooh. Now these are not super green, and that's one thing that I'm very curious to try these on the eyes, because some swatches that I've seen, they look more green than others. Other swatches, they look more just like neutral kind of greenish tone golds and browns. Regardless though, these look beautiful. Let's go ahead and swatch these three shimmers right here. Look how pretty. Okay, yeah, to me, I mean, they definitely have a green shift to them, especially these two right here. They have kind of a green undertone, but I wouldn't really call them green per se. This shade in the middle reminds me a lot of a beloved shade in my Nomad palette. I can't wait to compare those. It's kind of interesting that this palette included this shade. This is a really interesting shade. In some lights it looks more of like a brown, and then in some lights it looks much more kind of purple, and even as I'm swatching it, the sheen on top changes color. It's very much a duochrome, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Looks a little bit pink there, but when you shift it to the side, it has kind of this khaki shift to it. That is a very interesting color. It's beautiful. I mean, it's very, very unique. I haven't seen anything like this before. So I'm not going to try the purple today because I did recently do a purple look. I really am leaning towards today either the Sand or the khaki one. I know I'm going to disappoint someone regardless of what I do. Let's go with the khaki one. I couldn't help it, you guys. I'm sure you guys saw that coming. I really want to use this shimmery green lid shade alongside this deep kind of eggplant purple right here, and maybe some of these other mid-tone browns in here, maybe even a little bit of that peach or this gold color on the inner corner. We'll see. I don't know exactly what I want to do. We're just going to jump right into it. Let's go ahead and just pop this kind of peachy pink all over my transition area and brow bone. I wasn't expecting this delivery to come until Friday. Came 2 days early, which that is always such a great thing when your package comes 2 days ahead of schedule. Doesn't happen very often actually, especially these days. That's really pretty. It's a very soft pink. It's not overly pink. I was a little bit worried looking at it in the pan. It looks quite pink, but it shows up more of like a peach. Kind of more of a neutral. I do want to add a little bit more, so I'm going to go in with this color right here. I'm going to take that on the same brush just on the tip. And we're going to run that right through the crease. And I'm actually just placing that like right in my actual socket, slightly above so it peaks up above my hooded eye right there. I'm just going about 2/3 of the way across. Actually, let's take this one all the way across. Why not? Let's add a little bit of like a rainbow shape here. When it comes to placement of colors, I kind of just like have found what I'm comfortable with, and I rarely vary from that. I mean, I'll vary up the colors of my shadows, but the way that I put the shadow on and kind of the tones and where I place them, I don't change up very much. Sometimes I feel like I need to try different things more than I actually do. So I'm really pulling that in and kind of rounding it off. So I'm going to move to a smaller brush. I'm going to take my Revlon number 14. Same shadow, that kind of deep brown toned red. I just want to get a little bit more definition out of this shape right here. All right, now let's jump into, I think I want to go into the deep plum first, and then we're going to add the shimmer on top. So I'm going to take that same number 14 brush. I did just wipe it off really well, and I'm just going to dip into this purpley shade right here. This one I'm really going to concentrate right at this outer corner. So basically I'm placing it just kind of right there and just pulling it down and pulling it very lightly in, some circular motions. Circular motions. Circular motions. Why was that so hard to say? It's kind of a unique combination, like a red toned brown, a pink, a plum, and then I'm going to put a green on. I feel like this is a very interesting combination of shades, yet somehow they all go together. That's one of the things I love about Huda's little palettes like this. You get so much variety in such a tiny little palette. Before we get to the lid, I do want to just work on the lower lash line. I'm going to actually take this brown right here and run that along the lower lash line. These are quite soft, so be very light-handed when you dip in. I'm trying to keep this pretty low on that lower lash line. I'm kind of trying to go underneath where I put this dark shade right here. Almost like I'm drawing a halo around that outer corner. Alright, let's dip into some of these shimmers. Let's start off with the deeper shimmer right here, this kind of greeny bronze. And I'm going to place that kind of starting on the center and tapping it just over that center point. I don't want to go all the way into the outer corner, but we are probably going to get some shimmer there that I'll buff out in a minute. But this is going to be mostly my lid shade. I will brighten up the inner corner. It is deep. I mean, that's pretty deep. That's quite smoky. It's pretty. I will likely want to brighten that part up just a little bit more. I just am not a big fan of smoky, really deep smoky eye looks on me. I know this is not really deep, but for me, I just like a really bright lid, at least inner part of the lid, because my eyes get closed off so easily because they are quite small. But we're going to try and brighten things up with this gold shade. This one is quite kind of glittery, like in a good way though. It's feels almost more like a glitter kind of topper. Has a little bit of grit to it, but not like a chunky glitter. It's just a little gritty. But I really love how that's going on. That is really, really beautiful. I'm going to try and kind of run that even further across down on this lower part of the lash line, just to brighten that up a little bit more. I love that they included this shade. It's a really nice brightening shade, so if you don't like something dark on your lid or on your inner corner, there are a couple of options in here for you. I do want to add just a little bit of that shade to my inner corner, so I'm going to take my Revlon number 3 brush, dip back into that kind of gold shade there, and just tap that right on this inner tear duct area. Last, instead of putting liner on, I'm going to take just a tiny bit more of this purple on that Revlon number 2 brush, and we're going to just run that right along the outer edge of my upper lash line, just to bring a little bit of depth right there. Kind of smoke things out just a little bit more. It's a really pretty fall tone palette. Interesting color combinations, like eggplants and khaki. Who knew that eggplant and khaki went together? But they do. Look how pretty that is. So I do just want to add a couple of coats of mascara. Now I didn't technically pick up a new mascara from Sephora, but I did purchase Sephora Favorites mascara kit last year, and I still have like 4 or 5 that I haven't opened yet. So we're going to use one of these 3, which I haven't tried out yet. So I have the Pat McGrath Fetishized Mascara, the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir, and also the YSL Faux Seals. And since I can't decide for myself, I'm just going to shuffle them because they're all the same shape. Randomly pick one out. It is the YSL. You guys were all screaming Pat McGrath, weren't you? Alright, so we're just gonna pop a couple of coats of this on. I normally prefer to do this off camera, but since this is my first time trying it, Oh, and that reminds me, I never zoomed you guys in, did I? I'm sorry. I've been meaning to do that anytime I do an eye look. Sometimes I forget. When I come back and do a look with each of these palettes, I will be sure to zoom you guys in. Okay, this mascara is very lengthening. Ooh, that's just one coat, and that looks pretty dramatic. I did curl my eyelashes, which I pretty much always do now. I don't know how I went so long without curling my eyelashes. Now it's like a necessity for me. Alright guys, so there's the finished mascara. Here are the finished eyes. Very happy with this look. It is like dark and smoky and chocolatey, rich and smoky in the very best way. Very happy with how this turned out. I cannot wait to keep playing with this palette. I'm excited to do a lighter tone look with this palette. I mean, this is like rich and smoky, which I love, don't get me wrong, but this does look more like a date night makeup for me. I'm excited to try an everyday makeup look with this one, and of course try out the other two as well. So be sure to let me know if you guys want to see that video. I know a lot of people have talked about these palettes already. Are you tired of hearing about them? Do you want to hear my opinion on them? Do you want to see a look with each of them? And also, do you want to see maybe some comparisons to other palettes within my collection? Let me know if and what you guys would like to see, and I will come back and do that for you very, very soon. Last up, we have our lips to finish up with, and I am so excited about this lip product. This has been on my wish list officially for over a year, and it is the Charlotte Tilbury Hot Lips JK Magic. I talked about this in a recent video where I shared with you guys some very fun makeup from Harry Potter that I was fortunate enough to try out, and I mentioned that I have had my eyes on this lipstick for a very long time, so I'm excited to finally have this. I almost bought it for myself last Christmas. Decided not to because this thing is expensive. I have never spent more than $24 on a lipstick, and this was quite a bit more than $24. But here it is in this cute little package that looks like a coffin. So appropriate for this kind of Halloween sort of J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter sort of theme. Look at this packaging. Oh, this just needs to sit on display somewhere. It is just so pretty. This is my first Charlotte Tilbury lipstick ever. Here is the shade right here. Let's go ahead and swatch this on the back of my hand. Look at the shape of that. Oh my goodness. Fancy. I feel very fancy right now. Ooh, feels very, very rich. There it is. Okay, that is totally a me shade. Oh yay. I can tell. I'm gonna love this. So this is her kissing formula. I honestly don't know much about her lipstick formulas again because this is my first one. If you guys are Charlotte Tilbury, did I already use the word connoisseurs? Yes, I did. Let's use it again. If you're a Charlotte Tilbury lip connoisseur, let me know which of her formulas is your favorite. So I know it says the box recommends applying this with a lip liner first and then with a brush. But today we're just gonna go in with the bullet because I don't want to put a lip liner underneath it. I want to know exactly what this color looks like on its own. Very, very pretty. Perfect nude color for me. I'm very excited about this. Very excited to have it. I need to force myself to use this thing. I just have a feeling this is going to sit front and center on my desk, and I'm just gonna stare at it and feel like I can't use it. But I am getting better. I am learning to use the makeup products that I spend too much money on, because otherwise it's just a complete waste of money. Might as well get your money's worth out of it. But yeah, so far this is beautiful. It is comfortable. Probably should have done a little bit more research on her formulas before I did this video, but it feels very much like a creamy lipstick. It's not matte, but it's also not overly glossy. It has a good amount of opacity to it, but it's very, very comfortable. That is it. This is the completed makeup look. I am so excited about everything that I have tried so far, but don't fear, don't run out and buy everything just yet. At the end of the day, I'll take note of how everything wore, from the foundation and concealer to the blush, the lip product, the eyeshadow, the mascara, and I'll leave updates for you guys down below. I'll also be back and let you guys know how things are going, especially considering a lot of this makeup is higher end, is very expensive. I want to make sure I have thorough thoughts for you guys before I tell you whether or not it is worth the price, because I definitely don't take spending $42 on a foundation lightly. But as for my thoughts right now, I'm really happy with everything. I think I am especially excited about the foundation. Actually, my skin looks really natural right now. Like, it has this really soft, healthy glow. Can't wait to see how this wears. Can't wait to see how it wears underneath a mask, how transfer proof it is. That doesn't seem to be one of the claims, but I know Estee Lauder is kind of known for her transfer proof foundation products. So we'll see how it wears. I'll let you guys know. Hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I would love to know if you have tried out any of these products, what your thoughts are on them. Let us know in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for stopping by today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me try out a bunch of stuff that has been on my wish list for a long and also for a very short time. It is not often that I place big Sephora orders like this, maybe once or twice a year. So yeah, kind of a special occasion today. Hope that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys again. I hope that you guys are doing well. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, I hope that you'll consider doing that before you leave. And that's all I have for you guys today. I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye. Great makeup day. Terrible hair day today. This is my post-workout hair. It is almost 3 in the afternoon. This was like 6 a.m. Should have done something different with it, and then I thought, maybe it's okay. You guys ever do that? Like, maybe it looks good. I am back with a band-aid that is on too tight, so if my fingertip starts turning purple, that's why. At least that's what I told myself before I hit that buy button. The things that we tell ourselves when we're in our Sephora shopping cart or Ulta shopping cart. Am I right? Wes? What you doing? Okay, I'm almost done filming. You let me finish real quick? Can you give me a sec? Okay. Then we can go do something, maybe. And go play catch for a while. Okay, hey, you left your gloves outside?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. That is a very interesting brush. Looks like a banana. Okay, I really am too far away from this mirror. Sorry guys, I'm leaning forward. It's usually applied in my car with the mirror, with the light. When you open the lid and the light turns on, that's how I apply my lipstick.